Welcome to Spiritual Dialogues with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
Yes, Father, the last episode
Yeah.
you did say for us to learn, for everybody to learn, all the doctrines and interpretation. Actually, it should be, we have to have a one quality.
Yeah. So the point is to learn, but nobody can learn unless you have humility. That's why the emphasis should be on humility. And that is the entire treatise of the writing of Pope Gregory the Great. And why are we trying to disentangle the confusion that is going on in the Catholic Church, which is getting worse every day? Getting worse every day. Not better, it's getting worse really every day. And the reason is because you are either for Christ or against Christ. Christ said, you're either for me or against me. In other words, when a doctrine or teaching of Christ has been presented, you have to stand up and say whether you are for it or against it. You have to.
Yes, Father.
And you have to, the words of St. Paul is, you must confess. In other words, you must show other
Yes.
people. Show visibly. You have to show you are in favor or you are on the side of Christ or you are against Christ. You have to show it.
Yes, Father.
And Christ says you will be saved or punished to hell according to what is your stand.
There has to be no, I noticed, there must be no fear.
Well, of course, yeah.
I mean, it seems to be some, that quality of certain people.
Well, there must really be no fear. You must stand up because you need courage to
It
stand.
does, it does.
So what this has to be very clear is that you have to make a stand. You cannot be
That's
silent.
Stand,
You cannot.
that's really
You must say, I am for Christ or I am against Christ. That
fearless.
This is a teaching of Christ, this is a teaching. It has to be like that.
Yeah.
Confess. It must be seen by others.
No, yes, no hiding, no nothing. Just
Yeah, very clear. Huh?
okay.
Now, what's happening today is very clearly the Pope, many bishops, many priests are against Christ
Yeah, seems so.
by their heresies. They are against Christ, and therefore, when they die, they will surely go to hell.
Yeah.
And we have to save their souls. So we have to tell them that they are on the wrong side, that they're against Christ by committing those heresies. Now, why is this important that you have to confess whether you're for Christ or against Christ? Because suddenly, everybody is being forced to confess. Today, everybody is being forced to confess whether they are for Christ or against Christ. The Pope is being forced, and he's showing he's against the teachings of Christ. Cardinals and bishops, head of states, everybody's going to be tested, and you have to make your stand. Head of states are beginning to show that they are more for Christ than their Catholic bishops. So, for instance, Salvini of Italy and Bolsonaro of Brazil consecrated their country and their lives to the Blessed Virgin Mary, which the Pope would never do. Pope Francis would never do. During the feast of Our Lady of Fatima, Pope Francis in the Vatican was celebrating the arrival of the statue
Of Martin.
of Martin Luther.
Oh boy.
He was celebrating Our Lady of Fatima. And these two head of states, was consecrating their nations and their lives to the Blessed Virgin Mary in the palace of the presidents, not in the
Church or something.
Some
In the
nondescript
church
place,
or
yes, some
something,
small
no?
place in the main. Yes.
And Salvini even consecrated and asked for the help of 6 saints of Europe, the first of which is, of course, Saint Benedict.
Yeah, okay.
So this was an incentive not by the bishops, not by the Catholic bishops, not by the Catholic Church at all. In fact, the Catholic Church did not even praise them for what they have done. But these head of states are standing in favor of God.
That's a stand.
Well, Donald Trump is not even a Catholic,
Mhm.
but his policies are more Catholic than Pope Francis. He received a rosary and a statue of Our Lady of Fatima,
Oh,
and he's not even a Catholic. In one of his campaign, his wife started with the Our Father, and this is a campaign, political campaign. So what we're seeing are lay people, not Catholic bishops, not Catholic priests, not even a Catholic pope, are showing that they are on the side of Christ. They are for Christ.
yes, Father.
While the bishops and the priests, not all of them, but most of them, and even Pope Francis is showing that they are not for Christ. Pope Francis is showing more that he's pro-communist than rather pro-Christ.
It's terrible, Father.
Pro-communist and pro-LTG, whatever is
the LGBT.
Communism doesn't believe in God.
Well, of course, yeah. He's very pro-communist, yeah.
Yes. No,
And even not only, whole countries are showing they're pro-God or pro-Christ. Like Poland, like Hungary under Gorban, like Alabama in America,
oh, that's the only one I've heard.
and Missouri
Really?
are
Okay.
showing really that as a nation they are pro-Christ.
That's good. That's
Individuals, like a young Catholic boy whose name was Saint Man, stood for Christ in front of people who were against him.
that was the
This Catholic school boy.
Yes, they're from the one from yes
So,
at Lincoln.
so many people are showing that they're really
Yes.
on the side of Christ. They're for Christ, while majority are showing they are against Christ. And the sad thing are the majority who are against Christ are led by Pope Francis, the bishops, the cardinals, some bishops, and some priests.
And since Father, it seems to be that the majority, I hope not, but it seems the way we're looking at it against Christ, it takes a lot of courage to be for Christ.
Yeah. Well, that's why the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God, you know. That means you have to have really fear of God, courage against man.
Against man,
Yeah,
yes.
that's true. Yeah.
Yes, because it seems like that, and it's this prophecy. It's going to be more and more on that side.
Yeah, and the prophecy is that the moment the era comes, and there's an era, a time that will come, when everybody now will become visibly, everybody can see it, that some are for Christ and some are against Christ. Then the prophecy says all those in the middle will be placed in their proper places. Then there will be no possibility of transferring.
That's what you have said. You have said that before.
In other words, there will be for Christ or against Christ, and
And has it
they cannot change
occurred?
side.
Not yet.
Again?
Has it occurred?
Yes, it is occurring now.
It's occurring, right?
And so what we are fearing is that those against Christ might
Yes.
have no chance to be.
That's why we're trying one last effort.
Hopefully we are
there's
not
still
late.
time.
Yeah, that is not late. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's beginning to take place.
Yeah. It's
Everybody is being demanded or forced to take side.
It seems so.
And unless you know the teaching of Christ,
Yes, it's right.
unless you know the teaching of the Catholic Church, you cannot be for Christ.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
But there's a lot of doctrine to be studied.
But but
Not
there's easier
really.
way.
As we said, if you're humble,
Yes, that's easier.
all these teachings will be infused. In seconds, it's going to be infused.
In other words, you know which side is
Yeah,
Christ.
you will immediately know.
It is the very
So what-
essence of the teaching of Christ
Yes.
will be given to
Yes.
Infuse. That is
Yes.
the word St. Thomas of Aquinas used. Infuse. Given to you free,
you. Yeah.
suddenly. All you have to do is to become humble.
Because people know that there is a lot of teachings of Christ, and some of them could not memorize
That's
or
why.
even could not do one or two, maybe.
Yeah, because they're thinking about it in the ordinary way as if the teaching of Christ like mathematics or
Yeah,
something
naman na.
like that.
Just
It's
be
not
humble
that
na.
way.
People might ask, what is the thing that we must, first of all, learn so that we will be favoring Christ? What is the thing that we must learn and study?
Be humble.
Well, to be humble.
Humble, be humble, be humble. Nothing else but be humble.
That's true. And to be humble is very easy because all you have to do is to know yourself. Because if you know yourself, you will discover you have nothing to be proud of.
And it's taking out all the vices that was in
Well,
you.
you don't even have to, you know.
Just know that you are full
all,
of it.
all you have to do is to know yourself, whether the way you are, you know. And you will discover that there's nothing in you to be proud of, and there's many reasons in you to be humble. In the sense that, first of all, you know nothing, absolutely nothing,
Yes,
when you are
okay.
born. You know nothing, absolutely. And so they always say, know thyself. It's a famous idiom that everybody's talking about. Know thyself. Even the pagans know that. And so in the place of Delphi, you know, this is a pagan temple, there is a big word there, know thyself. Even they know that, precisely because it's something very basic.
No, that's
An ordinary people might ask, how do we know ourselves?
Just use your head. It's only the using of the intellect. To know is an act of the mind, knowledge. Act of the intellect, the mind. Just make it work.
What is in the person that we should learn or study?
Well,
so
let's
that we
state it
will
here.
know- So that we will know ourselves.
Yeah, just know the fact that you're a man with a body and a soul, capable of certain things and totally incapable of many, many things, and that should be enough to make you humble.
Thank you for that.
In other words, those seminarians, when they enter the seminary, they should say, I can never know theology unless God gives it to me.
Definitely, Father.
But they thought they could learn theology by reading the books in the library, by listening to lecture. They thought they could learn theology that way. You cannot.
Because there is some kind of hidden meaning in every word that is spoken by people who are on the know about theology and God.
Well, there is not even a hidden meaning, you know. It's simply that, you know, the words of God can only be explained by God, and therefore you should listen to God to know the meaning of those words. And because they made a mistake, instead of learning directly from God by being humble, they went to the library, read books, and listened to lectures from famed lecturers. All those study made them proud because they thought they could learn theology on their own, using their own efforts. And that is pride. That was the sin of the angels. They could think they could raise their throne as high as the throne of God. They thought they could do it by themselves, just as Adam and Eve thought they could learn good and evil by their own efforts just by eating a fruit. That's pride. So the sin of man and of the angel was spiritual pride. And that's the sin of the priests, the bishops, and the pope. Spiritual pride.
Sister?
No, I was just thinking, Father, yeah. The point is, by that time, nobody was focusing on humility, Father. It seemed to be not important. Do you notice as life went on? I mean, when you're smaller, it was never a focus, Father.
Well, it was never a focus even at the time of the apostles.
Okay. So it's really something. It has to be like, hey, it's an open. You need to be humble, like you say it now, no? But we've gone through life thinking just that you can do what you can. You pray to God, but you really didn't believe that that you couldn't do anything without God's. It's just that realization after that, hey, if God allowed this, that's why it's happening. If God does not want it, it doesn't happen. But it takes what, Father? An opening of the mind.
Yeah. It takes really the grace of God also.
I think that's the one. That's what I mean, Father.
Even Saint Peter, was proud
In that sense,
when
right?
he said, "Lord, I will give my life for you."
Yes, okay. Yes. But yeah, you know what I mean, Father? But with all good intention.
That's why it is with the perfect intention,
Intentions, right?
giving his life for Christ, it was an act of pride.
Can you
We have only
imagine?
1 minute, Father, please.
And to the question, how come they were proud? Because of the devil.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the sin of the devil.
And he wants us all.
When you are being tempted to be proud, that's diabolical. So in other words, what happened to the Pope, to the bishops, the cardinals, to most of them, how come they're in heresy? Because they're possessed by the devil.
Oh my God.
Because the devil had made them proud,
Yeah.
and because they were proud, the devil possessed them. Spiritual possession, not physical possession,
Yes, Father.
is exactly like the possession of Judas.
So anybody who is proud,
Yeah, is possessed by the devil. Because the author of pride is the devil. He has to be inside you for you to become proud.
How do we avoid this, Father?
Humility. Yeah, you have to
Pray to
use
God.
your head and become humble.
Thank you very much, Father.
Yeah.
Yes, my dear sister and brothers, thank you for watching Spiritual Dialogues. This dialogue really enlightened us. It is like the salt and light of our Lord Jesus Christ. We will be enlightened on what we must do. Thank you very much. See you next time again.
Hosanna, Hosanna.